Lefebvre takes the corner. Ballard! Yeah!
Everything hanging now on this corner kick. Enzo Lefebvre delivers. Right into the net. Ballard!
Plenty of movement inside that box. Ballard!
They may yet still get one more chance.
One more chance.
We're in the second minute of the two being added on.
I can feel it.
Well, this is the time to score.
Daniel Ballard.
So now Lefebvre from the left-hand side with this corner kick for Sunderland. Here comes Lefebvre. Whips it and it curls in. Ballard!
Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Black Cats Chat, the international fans podcast for Sunderland AFC. My name is Lee Thirkell. I'm from the Bilbao Black Cats. And here we are. It's Wednesday night, I think. I don't know what day it is. It's Wednesday night. It is indeed. And it's the night after. It's just after 24 hours after the playoff second leg last night when we got a last-minute equaliser which sent us through to the playoff final against Sheffield United on Saturday 24th. And I'm delighted to have three incredible guests with me today. First of all, I've got Dan Dimitrov from the Bulgarian Supporters Association. Dan, good evening. How are you, mate?
Good evening, Lee. I've never been better. I'm still buzzing about the result last night. And I'd like to congratulate every Sunderland fan in the world because this is incredible. What happened last night will stay forever.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we've also got Ian McNee. Ian is in Germany. He's part of the German Black Cats. Ian, guten Abend. How are you, mate?
You nearly said that right. Guten Abend, Lee. I'm a bit knackered because it was about 2 o'clock by the time I went to bed this morning. And I had to be up at 7 to take my wife to the doctors. But other than that, life's great. We're going to Wembley. Whether I'm going to Wembley is a completely different matter. God knows where the hell I'm going to take it from, but at least we're there.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Yeah, and we're going to get onto the tickets later because it's been a bit of a controversy today, I believe, on the ticket front.
Well, what a surprise!
Yeah, well, apparently, like non-season ticket holders being able to buy tickets ahead of season ticket holders.
Really?
that's what
I wish the hell I'd tried.
Yeah, well, the final guest is a special guest because yesterday he actually flew over for the match. Paul Clark in Barcelona. Paul, tell us about your trip yesterday, mate.
Hi, Lee. Evening. Yeah, wow. I'm also knackered here, but I don't know how many times I've watched the goal back today. Probably, I reckon at least 50 times. Any moment in the day where I was feeling a bit tired, just have another look at it. Just amazing. Well, I guess we'll come on to talk about it all, won't we? But I mean, probably for me the best like moment I've ever been seen at the Stadium of Light. I'd say it was just unbelievable. It just felt like the scenes were like nothing I've ever seen before. There, we've had like memorable goals. We've had pitch invasions, but not like that. It was just. The atmosphere was just incredible. It was like just the scenes. People just like stood on the seats, stood on anything they could find, just going absolutely crazy. It was like just something like I've never seen before.
And you've had some trip, haven't you? Because you told me that you flew from Barcelona to Newcastle yesterday morning about 5:30, wasn't it, or 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. I had the flight was at 6:30, so yeah, I was up at like 4:30 or something. And then this morning, there was no flights back from the northeast, so I had to get a flight from Birmingham. Drove down. My brother was working down there, so I got a lift with him. But that was also getting up at like 5:30 to then, and I didn't get to sleep till about 2 or 3, just because couldn't wind down.
Yeah. So, well, listen, Dan, the pre-match then we had like a little parade or welcome for the players. It seemed to go well. There weren't any blue flares, so we didn't buy those dodgy blue flares that Liverpool fans got a couple of weeks ago. They were all red flares. What did you make of the pre-match welcome? Are you a fan of that type of thing?
I'll be honest, not really. I mean, to some extent, yes. Greeting the players and getting ready for the game. But I think it was a little bit too much. And that reminds me of the Charlton playoff in League One, where we celebrated in London, Trafalgar Square, one night before the game. And then most of our fans had hangovers and were absolutely drained. They were knackered. They couldn't even watch the game properly and support the lads. And I was worried that the same thing is going to happen last night. And I was like, let's celebrate after the game when we knock these bastards out, because I'm one of them that hate Coventry. And I don't care what people say, but I don't like them. They're in my top 5 hated teams.
Yeah.
So I don't care. That's it. I mean, I'm so glad we knocked them out.
Yeah.
And
I would say on that though, if I just to come in on the team bus, because I don't think it was really like celebration like the Trafalgar Square. It was more like
greeting,
the team, like encouraging the team. And I think it probably, because even then we got into the ground like way before kickoff, like an hour before kickoff or something, and it was already like people there, and it was already like the atmosphere was going. And I think like actually the plan of waiting for the team bus, I think it did actually help the atmosphere during the match as well, because it just created this atmosphere that this game was different. It was like really special. Even 2 hours before kickoff, you were thinking, "Wow, this is different," and it carried over into the match.
Yeah.
Well, don't you think that this sort of could have burnt out the players if it's like too much? I was worried about that. They're gonna just get like burnt out, like against Newcastle for the derby for the FA Cup.
Yeah, they did start we were so nervous. Both teams actually just froze. Like the first 15 minutes was just awful football, just terrible. No one could. They were just like rabbits in headlights, every single player. And yeah, it was probably partly to do with the fact that it was just the occasion was massive and the atmosphere was like probably they'd not experienced before.
Mm-hmm. Ian, you want to come in?
Yeah, I was just going to say, here in Germany, flares at football matches are not unusual. I've got no problem when it happens outside the stadium, but here in Germany, it pisses me off. You're watching a match on TV or you're watching the highlights, and you can't see what's going on in the pitch because of all these bloody flares going off. And the stadiums, the modern stadiums these days, they've got an enclosed roof. Well, not an enclosed roof, but they've got a roof all the way around the ground, which holds the smoke in. So for 10, 15 minutes, you can't see anything. And have you ever smelt those bastards? Are bloody awful. But as going back to last night, greeting the lads, I thought that was a great move, honestly. It gets them up as well. I can't. I mean, Paul's just said we started off slowly last night. We've started off slowly since February. So I don't think there was anything. In fact, I thought we were more active in the first 15 minutes last night than we've been for a long time. Even down at Coventry, we started slowly and just waited to see what they were going to do, which is what we've been doing for half a season. Mm-hmm. The second half, we'll get on to the match later, but the second half was bloody awful.
Yeah.
And we didn't really start playing again the second half of extra time. Yeah. As I say, we'll get on to that later. But on the subject of flares outside the stadium, yes. Inside the stadium, absolute no.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think the thing is it can work both ways, kind of like the welcome. I think I can see Dan's point of view and I can see your point of view as well, that it gets the team up for it. But I think it depends on the person as well, doesn't it, really? Because some people might, I mean, for me personally, if I had to go through that, I think it would put the shits up me because of the way I am. I think it would make me more nervous. It wouldn't but on the other hand, you might get people who might kind of motivate them more. So
well, you're a lot older than the majority of our players, Lee.
I know, but I've got 2 kids and I'm fat and bald, mate. So you know what I mean?
Our team is just young and daft, and I'm sure they'd have been right on side with something like that.
Well, I think young'uns nowadays they are more capable of dealing with this because of all the pressures of social media that we didn't go through, did we not, as young'uns?
No,
And I think
not
that
at all.
with all like education system now, like the amount of work they do, all the exams, homework, social media, social life, I think they've just like got used to this kind of pressure. So I think maybe they may be used to it, but definitely not me. Right then, Dan. There was lots of legends, wasn't there, in the stadium last night? You had like Peter Reid there, Ahmad was in attendance, Jermaine
Yeah.
Defoe, and then one of the special moments was the West Stand being named after Jimmy Montgomery, the Montgomery Stand, which I think is something that's been needed for a very, very long time. That this legend, most appearances for Sunderland FC in the history, wonder save in '73. I think it's about time that he got some kind of recognition, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, what a legend. I mean, whatever you say about him, it's not going to be enough. But the fact that we had so many ex-Sunderland players there, including that generation with Jim Montgomery from the 70s and the 90s and the 2000s, that tells you one thing. They all love this club. Anybody who got involved with this club, it stays forever. This love stays forever. And then even for half season, even for loan spells, it doesn't matter. These players fall in love with the fans, with the team, with the city, everything about it, and that's the reason why I fell in love as well. So there was no surprise that they were there, and then I mean, look at the occasion. Like this second leg guarantees the Wembley final to go back to the Premier League. I mean, you can't get bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
It was occasion that people would kill to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paul, you were there at the start of the game. Then before the start, we had a crowd display. There was like a massive T4, wasn't it? Like a big mosaic in the stands. I thought it looked class. I don't know from your seat where you were sitting if you were able to get a good view of it.
I was holding up. I was holding up a piece of red plastic. I was in the south stand, so I was like behind the cat. You know, they pulled up the picture of the cat, and I was behind the cat holding up the red sheet of plastic. So I couldn't really see it, to be honest. But like I was saying before about the atmosphere, it was just even before kickoff, it was absolutely bouncing. Yeah, and then it was. I like the touch with the foghorn. That was brilliant. Like the foghorn, it was like the sound of the foghorn, and then they pulled up the cat, and then they played and then Prokofiev came on, and it was like, wow, they did a great job.
It really came across well, yeah. And well, I mean, Paul, you met up with Jeff, didn't you? Because Jeff, one of the guests from the podcast, he lives in Menorca. Jeff also went over. You had a beer with him, I think, in the Hilton.
Yeah. I got it was brilliant. It was probably a good 3.5, 4 hours even before kick off. It was like really early. We're over there, and I was looking around thinking, why is it's like really dead? No one's here. And then I kind of kept remembering that it's like the afternoon and most people are working. But yeah, it was good seeing Jeff. I had a couple of beers with him, and then from there went and walked up to the side of the road, waiting for the bus outside the Colliery Tavern.
Yep. Ian, then the lineup came out. Then it was the same lineup as Friday night. Were you happy to go same again, or do you think maybe Mundell might have came back in?
In retrospect, yes, but setting up like that, I mean, it worked in the first leg. Why not have a go the same in the second leg? A couple of things happened last night. For me, RLB made the subs too late. Roberts had a shocking game last night, I think. It should have been off before full time, at the latest after their goal, and maybe brought Mundell on then. And okay, Riggy for Mayenda, yeah, okay. Not for Mayenda, for Isidore. Personally, in the next game, in the final, I would start with Rigg and Mundell, sacrifice Roberts, put Lefay in the middle of midfield, because when we made those substitutes, that's when we started to get strong in the second half. In the second half of extra time, you had Lefay operating in the middle of midfield, you had Mundell out where he's pretty good, you had Riggy out on the right, and it started to work. Coventry, it could well be that Coventry run out of puff as well. Like, you know, could well be that they were knackered at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But for the final, I will go with that. Last night, I had no arguments with the lineup that we started with.
Yep. No, I was kind of happy with it because I thought if we've got the home advantage, we were a goal ahead. We weren't exactly 100% comfortable, but I don't think really Coventry did anything too bad to hurt us at their place. So I thought, okay, if we go same again, home atmosphere. Danny, how did you think the match started?
Well, as Ian said, we normally start pretty slow, but last night both teams started slow, and I could see that the game plan was actually quite the same to the first leg, and then I was very disappointed with that because I really wanted to see someone coming out and attacking. I know I'm a fan and I'm not a manager. Most fans will probably like to see their teams winning 6-0 every game and attacking from start to the end. Obviously, that's not the reality. But really wanted to feel that we're at home and we're playing in front of 48,500 fans. And I just wanted to see a little bit more from our team, not to sit back and defend deep, like especially in the second half. I was quite disappointed, and I know that the result is what matters, but the way we played in the 90 minutes was unacceptable for me. I'd never want to see this again.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I get that totally. Paul, I mean, early on, we did have a chance, didn't we? Like, Eliza Mayenda went on one of those mazy runs, and he had a right foot shot, which got parried away. And then from the rebound, we got a cross in, and Isidore got a header. And I think their goalkeeper was lucky to get away with that, because I think their goalkeeper went to have like a little dig, didn't he, at Isidore?
Yeah, that was down the other side of the pitch. It looked like he might have stood on him.
Yeah,
it was hard to see from. I was right down the other end.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was a good. Like, he hit it quite well, Mayenda. And he ran Mayenda, by the way, he just like ran his socks off, didn't he, all night? Just like the amount of ground he must have covered. In terms like the overall performance, like on what Dan was saying, like, it's not that surprising though, because and not because of the last 5 games where we know we didn't have anything to play for and we were even worse. But the last, we've talked about it before, Lee. It's been ages really since we've put in a few really good performances on the spin. Coventry, I got to say, actually a better team. I'd say if you look over the last 30, 40 matches, they've got probably about 5 or 10 more points than us. And it showed over the 2 legs. I thought they were the better team. My view actually on the first leg was that I've seen people talk about like a Labrie masterclass. I think actually we didn't play terrible. We didn't play badly, but it wasn't a good performance. We scored from an error, and the goalkeeper actually should have saved the first one as well. On a different day, we could have lost that 2-0, and you wouldn't have thought we'd been robbed. It was just one. And so one of my things with Labrie is that if he never changes a winning team, even if we haven't played, even if not everything's worked, but I didn't think everything worked in the first leg, but he just, because we won, he was never going to change that team. And then, like Ian was saying, the subs last night, I couldn't believe how long it took. And again, because we were still winning in the tie, I think he just didn't want to change the team. But Ian touched on like Roberts, and I know I've defended Roberts on here before because I do like him. It was just one of the worst performances I've seen. He literally nothing went right for him. Even the things that he's good at, like dribbling, keeping the ball, everything just went wrong. If you saw like a compilation of all his touches, it would have just been an absolute car crash. So the fact that he stayed on for so long was, I couldn't really believe it.
Roberts couldn't have beat a carpet last night. He was awful. He really. I mean, I've seen him put in some great performances. He's flattered to receive a lot this season. But last night he was just horrible. I think he did. I think he would admit it himself, honestly. And I can't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He would know. He just got him there. Just a bad day.
I can't understand why Labrie didn't hook him sooner.
But I think he tried it, didn't he? He tried to do it at the start of extra time, but Mundler wasn't ready. He had to put some tape on. I mean, I think he worked his bollocks off. He ran around a lot and he pressed. He did that very well, obviously. Agree with the touches. I mean, I was watching him closely, but to his defense, a lot of the time when he was picking up the ball, he was kind of like 3/4 in their half, and he had three men around him.
Yeah,
and
true.
and he didn't have any support. Like normally he'd have Trey Hume, or he'd have like I don't know, like Riggy or someone like that. If Riggy's playing like in the middle, he'd like to make those little triangles, and he didn't have that support last night. So I think we were kind of very defensive, weren't we? So I think
he was isolated.
He was isolated. So a lot of the times he was trying to take on three men, and obviously I don't think he's that good. Like, I mean, he's not going to take on three men.
Like, you got to give credit. I was saying before, like Coventry, I thought were the better team. That the number 3 is it De Silva. He's a good player, and Roberts just couldn't really didn't get anything out of him really. You got like they had Sakamoto. I thought was apart from Ballard, obviously, Sakamoto was the best attacking player over the two legs. He looked the most dangerous. Grimes, and there's another one in midfield who was controlling the game. Yeah. So they were like a good team. There's a couple of things that I thought were interesting, like tactically. Afterwards, Labrie said he thought the players were kind of stuck and not really sure whether to defend or attack because of the fact we were like ahead in the tie. And it did look a bit like that. Although, like I said, I'm kind of just thinking, like, looking long term, we just haven't been that good for a while. But maybe there could have also been a bit of that. It was a bit of a strange situation. I was feeling like a strange situation. It's like I didn't know also whether am I happy here with like us just defending and keeping it to 0-0 or not. And the other thing was that we let them have so many crosses. It just kept going out wide, and we weren't closing down the crosses. And they put so many crosses in the box. And then after the match, when I was listening to the going back and listening to all the replays of the interviews, Ballard said something like the game plan was to let them have the ball out wide, and we were going to pack the box, and so let them cross it, and we'd head it away. And to be fair, I suppose
it worked.
We kind of did. It kind of worked. Yeah. But when you're watching it, you're just dying. It's just so stressful.
Yeah. When you're sitting at home in front of the telly, it's so.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Counting the amount of bloody heart attacks I had last night.
Well, and I almost had a heart attack as well. Dan, I was watching the Sky Sports stream. Okay, I won't say how, but I was watching the Sky Sports football stream, and I don't know if you noticed on 18 minutes what happened on the scoreboard. Did you see it on Sky Sports? Did you notice?
I was watching the Bulgarian satellite.
Oh, all right, okay, right. We won't say anything about that either. Right, but on Sky Sports, right, on 18 minutes, well, I'd been in the kitchen for 5 minutes, like cooking the girls' dinner, right, and all of a sudden I come back in, and my eldest daughter, she's 10-year-old, she says, "Daddy, why does it say 3-3?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh, they made a mistake, didn't they? Yeah.
Right. So it said 3-3 on the screen, like aggregate score 3-3, and I looked at it and said Sunderland 1, Coventry 2. I was like, I've only been in the kitchen 5 fucking minutes and they scored 3 goals, right? And do you know what? Like do you remember that moment of Chris Kamara and Jeff Stelling on Soccer Saturday when Cammy doesn't know that a man's been sent off, and he's like, like I said to my daughter, I said like, have 3 goals been scored? She looked at the screen, looked at me, and she said, "I don't know, Daddy." And then I literally listen. I had to go on live score and have a look, and it was like 0-0. I was like, and all of a sudden the screen just flickered, and it went back, and I was like, that's either a Coventry fan or a mag who's in charge of the screen. But honestly, I was like, fuck me, I've missed like 5 goals because I'm getting fish fingers out the oven with the tongs.
Well,
should have done it before the game.
Let me tell you something. Last night, the first 90 minutes, I turned the air blue in the room. I've never swore in my life so much because I hate when we defend deep. I don't care about the tactics. How can that be a tactics to let them cross the ball so often and we will clear it? How is that a tactics? I would never accept these tactics. I mean, it was so stressful, and they were getting tired and more tired and more tired, and eventually we cracked, and they scored from another cross. So,
we've proved time and time again all season that we can't defend. I mean, how many leads have we thrown away during the season?
Is it just me? Did you notice that for the 90 minutes when Bellingham was getting the ball, he went backwards, forward. He was always going backwards and trying to do a circle and pass the ball backwards. I couldn't believe this. Yeah. he started doing that. He started going forward in the extra time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had I think it was we were kind of trying to play it get it once it went to the back, once it went to 09 or Ballard, and sometimes the midfielder knocked it back to them. It looked like they wanted to play like really deep and keep the ball and try and bring Coventry to press them, and then they would either try and knock it forward either to like Bellingham or Neil or even go long and direct. But I'm not sure how effective that was.
Yeah.
Well, Coventry were pressing us anyway. They were pressing us for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, we
didn't
started
need to do anything about it to allow that to happen. They were just pressing us, and then I thought I was expecting a little bit more from the midfield. I mean, get a few passes together, like knock the ball around.
That was the thing, though. Like over the 2 legs, they just completely controlled the games. And the bit about like Ian saying about our defending. The actual defence was the reason we won the tie. Because
I'm saying we can't defend. We defended bloody well the last 2 games.
Yeah, but it was like the team wasn't defending well because the midfield was they just had the ball and it was just constant pressure and crosses. It was lucky that like the last line of defence, so that once it came into the box, Ballard just won absolutely everything. And if he didn't win it, 09 won it. And in the end, I think that was probably what won us it.
Yeah. Ian, I want to come to you for this.
Sorry, Lee. In the first game, I was just going to say, in the first game, we were knocking the ball long, and it was working to a certain extent. And then all of a sudden, in the second game, with the same team, we start mucking about at the back again, and we've proved time and time again that's not the best tactic to use, especially against a team like Coventry who use a high press. I mean, you think, okay, if they're going to press high with the space in the back, that's great if you're going to eventually knock the ball long, but we never did. We just passed it back to keeper or gave it to 09 or Ballard or outside to Hume or Thirkell. We never made progress, and that was the worst thing last night.
Second half of the 90 minutes was absolutely terrible.
Oh,
I mean, Sakamoto, as Paul said, he tormented Thirkell so much. Nobody tried to help him. It was just time and again in waves. They were coming at us. And as soon as we get the ball, we give it back to them. As soon as we get the ball, I mean, every clearance was awful.
Yeah.
It was just clearing the ball away. This was panic.
Here's the thing, Dan, right? We had a lot of chances because our game plan was obviously a low block and then get them on the counter-attack where this is on my under's pace. And there were several times when we had that chance, but instead of playing the ball over the top into space, we played it on the floor. And it just getting cut out all the time. Yeah. And it was just coming straight back at us, wasn't it? And we were very slow at the second, but we didn't win any second balls. And I was telling you, Dan, last night, I think it was like in a message that our midfield, for them trying to keep hold of the ball was like trying to keep melted butter on a knife, like hot butter on a knife. It just kept on going away. And then obviously in extra time it changed. But Paul,
I think also just before, Lee, just to say, I think Isidore as well has got to take a bit of the blame here because in the first leg, I know he scored. He didn't hold it up at all. Just everything that went up just came back. And yesterday as well, like you said, we kind of there was a few opportunities where you thought this could be on it, the counter could be on here, and then it just didn't. We kind of just fluffed it. And I think Isidore was poor again over both legs.
Yeah, I don't think he does enough running. I think he needs to do more running off the ball because my ender does it. But Paul, at half time, I mean, I wasn't too nervous at half time. We're still 0-0. We're still in the driving seat. I mean, I wasn't too nervous. I thought it wasn't a great performance, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, Coventry started to get into the game, maybe it's on the 25th, 28th minute, something like that. They started to get into the game, but I wasn't concerned at half time. I thought half time we'll get into them a little bit and then we'll come back out and we'll be quite strong. But the second half, as we mentioned, it was just awful, wasn't it? It was just backs to the wall. And you could see the goal coming, couldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. In fact, it was around I think I remember looking at the scoreboard, it was like the 65 minutes. And at that point, I just thought it's just a matter of time. There's no way we're not gonna. There's no way we're gonna keep a clean sheet here. There's just no way. And then actually, we had a spell for about 10 minutes where we actually came back into it about 60 to 70 minutes or something like that. And then I thought we might have actually weathered it and we might be okay. and then not long after they scored.
Yeah.
But the first like 20 minutes of the second half was just atrocious. Yeah.
I mean, Ian, for me, that formation and that style of play is totally against the strengths of the midfield three, because Dan Neil, Lefay, Job, they're normally so composed and calm on the ball, and they're good passes the ball, they're good control. But like last night, the way they played on the ball, I mean, defensively they were great, but on the ball, when they had the ball, it was like watching like a League One match against Gillingham, something like that.
Well, first of all, Lefay was wasted out on the left. He's a central midfield player. It's as plain as the nose on your face. He's got to play in central midfield. I thought Dan Neil had a poor game for him last night. An awful lot of his passes went astray. And as Dan said earlier, every time Job got the ball, he turned around and went backwards. I mean, I don't understand the tactic there at all. They're obviously playing to instructions to a certain extent. An awful lot of football on the field is, you just handle the situation as it is. But quite a bit of it as well is what the coach tells you to do. I mean, you're not going to knock the ball long if the coach says knock it across the back, even if you don't agree with what he said. It's the midfield. I wouldn't say the midfield was overrun. It just wasn't playing right. You saw a bit of interplay with Neil and Job. They've got something good going on, but it wasn't effective. It wasn't producing anything. It wasn't productive because the ball never went anywhere. It just stayed where it was, knocked about in midfield, and that was it.
Yeah, Dan, for their goal then, I mean, obviously we mentioned before that they got loads of crosses in, and that was obviously their plan, but we dealt with it. But I think you could tell when that pass got played down the line, you saw Job, he looked out off his feet. I think was it Lefay was also there, and I think that was the only time where they got really an easy cross to put in. And it was similar to the one against on Friday, wasn't it? That basically the guy got past Lefay, didn't do enough. And listen, you can stop 90 headers coming in from the box, but there's always going to be one chance that they're going to get, isn't it? And they took that chance.
Well, yeah, like Paul said, you knew he's coming. I mean, the way we played, it was just a question of time when they're going to score, and then when that happened, I just wanted to see how we're going to react after that, because all you see is that they're like going to win it, and you're thinking, oh my God, there's only 15 minutes left. If they score again, there will be no time for us to come back. So this was very, very depressing time. I think the second half is one of the worst I've seen live, and Lefay was trying too many tricks where sometimes you need to be playing more simple things. He was trying all these back heels and that. I didn't like that. He should have been more focused on passing the ball rather than doing these little tricks. We spoke about Bellingham, Patrick Roberts. Oh my God, I don't know what happened to him. He looked like a naughty schoolboy who was going to get punished any moment. And I don't know what's happened to him, because we know how skillful he is, what a great player he is, and why the hell he was not showing that, I've got no idea.
Yep.
And on top of that, you've had, I think Trey Hume was quite nervous. He started doing some silly things and pushing players, and I thought he lost a little bit of his control. And I was just worried that someone will be sent off.
Yeah.
And then you got Isidore, who was totally lost. And obviously this was the first substitution to be made. And Rigi came on, and then we started picking up. I think sort of towards the end of the game, we started picking up slowly. But I must say something. Although Coventry had the possession, and they were pressing and they were playing better football than us and everything, look at the clear-cut chances they created. Not that many.
Yeah.
We were the ones creating the clear-cut chances, like Mayenda in the first half. Then we had Trey Hume with a lovely volley that was saved by the goalkeeper. And then I think although we looked terrible, we actually created the better chances. People seem to not notice that. And
I think though they had so many half chances. I agree. I can't remember them having carving us
clear
open.
cut chances, very little. I remember one, I think.
But they had a lot of half chances. Like yesterday, there was a header which was a good chance. They had one on the edge of the box, which was like a really good shooting opportunity. Over the 2 legs, they had 34 shots in total, and some of them were not great chances. But we were lucky they only scored 2 goals. They could have. Yeah. They had enough half chances over the 2 legs to have scored 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last night Patterson didn't have a great lot to do. The ball never got to him because the defence was so solid in the middle. Going back to a point that Dan made, saying he was depressed in the second half. I was so bloody depressed, especially after they scored the goal. In a perverted sort of way, I wanted them to score the second goal to put me out of my misery. Just to say, that's it, it's finished, I'm not bothered anymore.
Yeah.
This season,
when you're hoping for penalties, that things aren't good when you're hoping for penalties.
I would not have survived penalties, believe you me. I'd have gone for a walk around the block and come back in 15 minutes.
If I had a camera here recording what I'm saying, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was like, there's no point to go to the final if we play like this. I mean, not to mention the swearing and all sorts. And it's like...
That's the thing. That's the one thing, though, isn't it? Like thinking of the final, and we are so far away from having a team that could even probably get 15 points in the Premier League. I mean, if we were to get promoted, presumably it would just be we would have to, bring in loads of new players. So I'm not saying it would be the same team, but still, you kind of want to get promoted with a few players who you think, right, they're going to be able to make it. But right now, there's probably no one. There's we're so far off being anywhere close to being able to compete in the Premier League. And I feel like, we're being because we're being quite negative here, but it's like, for me, it's not. We're being pretty negative.
We are actually, yeah, we are.
Considering we've just had one of the best moments in recent history.
No,
But the thing is, it's not, for me. It's not like it's not that last night everyone underperformed. I just feel like we've been like that for so long, and I just think we've got players like Job, Rig. We've got exciting players, Ballard, who are going to be probably really, really, really good players. But right now we are about a 4th, 5th, 6th in the Championship team where we can. Coventry are actually also, they could easily, like they did, outplay us. So I kind of feel that, I don't know, it's like not to be too critical of them. I just think they're a young team. They're going to get better over time. Let's just see now. We've got one match, and if we were to win, then we're gonna. Hopefully, it'll be a busy summer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think. Well, you're saying it's going to be a busy summer. I think a couple of players will come in, but I suspect what we'll do is we'll go next year, get hammered every other week, pick up the money and come back down, and then build again.
Yeah.
I've become very pragmatic about this over the time, because when we set away like a house on fire at the start of the season, and we were top of the league at Christmas, I thought, bloody hell, if we go up, But then again, we started showing not our bad side, but possibly the side that we really are. We played possibly above ourselves at the start of the season and below ourselves the last 8 games. And in the middle was more or less what we were capable of week after week. Playing like that in the Premier League, we will get hammered, no doubt about it. We'll just have to put up with it. The main thing is we're going to get money. We have now got a hell of a chance to get promoted to the Premier League, which is where the catch is.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be really important to
we'll get 3 years parachute payments even if we come down. So that's us financially secure for the next 4 years. The year that we're in the Premier League, and then the 3 years that we come back down again. If we come back down, it's not written in stone. It's very likely, but you never know.
Go on, Dan.
Well, I was going to say that if we reach the promised land, Premier League, I'll be very delighted for this young team, for these young players to reach the Premier League like that. That will be tremendous achievement. And then they will become more hungrier. They'll have more confidence. And as Ian said, who knows? We might get away with it. We might stay up. I mean, depending on what the owner's going to do and how many players they're going to get into the team. But, you know, I'd say that I fancy our chances to survive. I know it's a bold statement, but you know, the reason why we're competing in this league is to get promoted to the Premier League. So we're one game away from that. And then I was encouraged by the second half of the extra time, because we started really playing like Sunderland. We know
we pulled ourselves round.
Absolutely brilliant attacking on the flanks, attacking through the middle. Mundell was like absolutely brilliant, and then he had like a good chance which was cleared just before goal line. So I want to see this Sunderland brave, attacking, and not thinking about the consequences.
Yeah, because during the second half, I was thinking like almost. Well, I mean, if we get through, we're gonna get beat in the final anyway. But then at the end of extra time, I was thinking, this is almost worse if we lose, because now we've seen glimpses of we actually could be a team good enough to get promoted here.
And guys, did you dread the penalties? I mean, I was saying to my wife, oh my God, I mean, I don't remember when was the last time I watched penalties to do with Sunderland. It was against QPR in the Cup. I think I was at the ground. I was at Loftus Road, and we won 2-1. and then we had 4 penalties missed this season, with Isabel missing 2. I was like, the prospect of having penalties was like someone shooting me against the wall.
Well, they'd already taken Isidore off, so he couldn't take a penalty.
And then, he took the easy door out, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Hjelde must be a hell of a penalty taker.
He's Scandinavian. He must
2 minutes to go.
but the reality was that my wife came back to the room and she said, well, how about you score in the last second? I was like, oh my God. I said, well, can you imagine this happening? And it did happen.
Yeah.
I had no energy to scream or shout properly. I nearly cried, man.
Oh, I did. The entire neighbourhood heard that goal.
I was exhausted. I was on the floor. I think I had a couple of strokes and bloody 3 heart attacks.
Normally, I would have thought there's no chance we're going to score from it. And then Lefebvre goes over to take the corner. First of all, he starts waving to the crowd to G up the crowd. Obviously, in the crowd respond. I was like right next to him. I was in the south stand towards the east side where he took the corner. He then picks up the ball. He kisses the ball.
Oh,
places it on the turf. And then I'm thinking he thinks that this is going to be a goal. And then he just put in the cross, and the cross. When you look at, I didn't notice at the time, but when you look at the replay, it curled in so much, didn't it? It started off like it was going out towards the penalty spot, curled in loads, and I think that's maybe why the defenders didn't react. Like when Ballard just peeled off him, and they didn't really go with him. Maybe because they kind of anticipated it wasn't going to go to end up where it did. The rest is history.
How the hell did he score with the back of his head?
When the corner's taken, there's at least 2 Sunderland players round Ballard, and there's about 4 players altogether, Sunderland players there, and there's a ton of Coventry players there as well. When the corner was taken, everybody moved to the front post, and the Coventry players went with them. No Coventry player could get anywhere near Ballard because he had 2 teammates around him. So at the end of when the ball actually landed in Ballard's area, he was standing completely alone. Of course, the stupid bastard jumped too early and he nearly missed the header. That's why he was bent double when he put it in, but he still got it. And thank God it went in. I couldn't, but I thought he put it past the post, to tell you the truth. And then I saw it nestling in the net. I thought, all right, the entire neighbourhood's going to hear about this, and they did.
I thought he bounced back out. I thought he hit the crossbar and bounced out. I wasn't sure whether that was in or not.
Yeah. And you've gone over the line, but I thought it was the wrong side of the post.
And
Well,
guys, what about their goalkeeper? Doing this to Bellingham in the second half. I mean, I thought he was naughty. This goalkeeper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did it with us in the first half, and he did it with Bellingham in the second half. I don't know whether he's bananas or whether he's just trying to wind it up.
I think
he had a few
dirty tactics. I think he had a few dirty tactics in his sleeve.
I mean, it scares me, Chip, isn't it?
But he's a Sunderland fan, though, isn't he? He's a Sunderland fan, Sunderland ex-academy player. But he was holding on to him. And there was also in the first half as well, a Coventry player. Oh, yeah, it was in the first half. A Coventry player was actually holding on to Lefebvre as well. When Lefebvre fouled somebody and the player kind of like grabbed him.
I see, stopped him running back to defend, didn't he?
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
Well, listen, I'm going to get a word in because I can't get a word in edgeways with you bastards.
I can
anyway, but anyway, I just want to give a quick shout out because Ian and Dan, you might have seen this on the telly, but just after Coventry scored, I'm going to share an image with you on the screen. We may remember this moment. I don't know if you when the cameras went to the crowd, and this fella here is actually Miguel, who does the Spanish version of our podcast.
Oh, right.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so basically, and I said, like, after the match, I said, Miguel, I think I've seen you on the telly. Is it you? He said, yeah, I was praying, man. I was praying. So, like, just after they scored, Miguel was there on the telly, and I was, that's Miguel. Now, Miguel lives in Sunderland. Obviously, he's from the south of Spain, but he's married to a Mackham lass. And, but yeah, so it was great to see that. Brilliant to see that. And then, listen, you've all mentioned your celebrations there. I'm going to tell you my celebration. So I picked up my eldest daughter because she's 10. My little one was in bed fast asleep. I picked her up, and then you can see the corridor behind me. I ran down the corridor about 5 times with her running up and down. And then I put her down in the living room, and then she started doing, like these like little jumps that football players do before they start the match, before they come on, like the knees really high. So she started doing this frantically. And I thought, what the fuck, I'm going to do it as well. Well, I got cramp.
Magnesium, mate. Take magnesium. That was solid.
Well, I got cramp and I fell on my ass. So, but anyway,
what did your neighbour downstairs say? They're not complaining of the noise.
No, well, listen, my neighbour's downstairs. He's a 60-year-old, I think, something like that. And
is he deaf?
No, he's not deaf. He's definitely not deaf because he's got a stick that he bangs on the ceiling now every time my girls run around the house. So yeah, I don't know what he thought when I fell on the floor. But yeah, Paul, the scenes in the ground when we scored.
It was just total chaos. It was chaos. I was there on my own. My brothers and my dad were the other part of the ground. I just got a ticket on a one ticket for me. Just hugging random strangers, probably like 5 different people, falling over seats. And then it was weird because then it went on. It felt like it lasted forever until the kickoff. It must have been a good few minutes until the game kicked off. And then you start thinking, are they going to have one last attack? Because the ref hadn't blown for full time. So I was thinking, they're going to hoof it and have one more attack. And at this point, Ballard has had his top off for 2 minutes. And but it was amazing because you kind of, obviously part of you is thinking that, but deep down you know it's all over. So you just had this few minutes to savor the fact that the ref was going to blow his whistle, and the Coventry players were just sat. They must have, maybe the ref had told them, gave a signal to say, look, that's it, because they were just sat down.
Us against Charlton, wasn't it, in the playoff in 2000? And was it 19 or 2018?
Yeah,
the last minute goal.
Yeah. They were just gone, and so it just those few minutes were just amazing. And the only thing because before at the start of the podcast, I was trying to think of. It's hard to describe it. I can picture it in my head, and it's hard to describe. The only thing I can reminds me of was when I lived in Argentina for a year, and I went to matches in Argentina, and there, you just you pan around, and there's just people just getting vantage points wherever they can. Whether that's on the entrance to the concourse, and they're just stood on the top of that or whatever. Everyone with the tops off, just waving the shirts around, flares going up, and it was like that. The only thing I can that I've seen before like that would be when I was at a match in Argentina. It was just absolutely amazing.
Yep. No,
well, I was sitting at home shitting bricks, but I was convinced that they were going to score straight from the kickoff and go to penalties. When the ref blew the whistle as soon as they kicked it back to the keeper from the kickoff, then he blew the whistle out.
But listen,
I just melted into the chair.
listen, Dan Ballard struggled to get his shirt off. Listen, I know how he feels. I have that trouble every day. But Dan, anyway, like kind of comparing the overall performance, like with the bad, the good, the ugly, and then looking towards the final against Sheffield United. I don't think we'll set up the same way versus Sheffield United. We can't do that. I don't think we can't do that. And I think it'll be a different challenge. I think like Coventry's game plan was that, and I think Lebris kind of like tried to combat that. I don't think, and I hope he don't. I hope he doesn't go with the same type of plan, because I don't think against Sheffield United it would work. We saw in the second half of extra time when you got Lefay in the middle, he was actually pulling the strings, wasn't he? And Dan Neil and Job were actually getting on the ball. Now, that's what I want to see. I want to see us playing on the front foot. Now, I would be very disappointed to see us lose in the final, playing like we did last night in the first and second half, if we lost in the final. If we lose playing the right way and like playing on the front foot and you give it the best and you try and win, I've got no issue with that. But if we play like that in the first or second half in the final and we lose, I'd be very gutted, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, first of all, it's a one game. It's not over two legs. So it's a one game. You've got one chance there. Second, we actually played Sheffield United twice during the season. We beat them at home, lost away, but we missed a penalty. And we actually outplayed them over there. So there's nothing to worry about it. Of course, they got more players. They got like a balanced team. But I fancy our chances against them easily. If we play like we played these 15 minutes at the end and we play with more freedom and get the right balance between the players, I hope Mundell is going to be fully ready, because I was worried about him because he haven't played for so long. I didn't know how he's gonna perform, but he was absolutely sharp. He was right into it. So I think we've got every chance. I mean, the chances are 50-50 every time you got a final. It's 50-50 chance.
It's
so
either
there's nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. Just go and be brave and attack. As Lee said, do what you can, play well, see where we are.
Mundell's got to start, hasn't he? Mundell's got to start.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if it's not 4-2-3-1 like we know for most of the season. Mundell on the left, Lefay in the middle, and then the only question mark really is on the right. I see is who plays on the right. Is it Rigg? Is it Roberts? Could it even be Rigg? Could even be Mayenda and put an Isidore up front. I'd probably go with Rigg as well.
Yeah,
definitely. Roberts needs to be dropped. I think it's just a mental issue he's having.
I wouldn't. I mean, I'd go with Rigg. I wouldn't be like gutted if Roberts does play, because that game was just a bit of an aberration. Like, but he can't have any complaints either if he is dropped. And Rigg did well when he came on.
Yeah. Well, Mundell's got another 10 days to improve. And I hope and expect that he will start. It has to, as far as I'm concerned.
I wouldn't play two up front against Sheffield United, even though it worked at home.
It worked in you, yeah. It's home.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. I think that last night we were kind of a bit screwed, because as soon as he took Isidore off, we didn't have another forward on the bench.
Yeah.
And I think that if we play a final, I think I would go for, like what Paul said, 4-1-2-3 or whatever it is, like, or 4-2-3-1. I would go with that, and I would have Isidore on the bench, and I would definitely play Mayenda, because Mayenda's the man of the moment at the minute for me. He's on fire. He's full of confidence. Paddy Roberts. I mean, yeah, I think Wembley's a massive pitch, isn't it? So he might go for that midfield player to try and get a bit more. Try and get a bit more possession, because maybe Roberts can't cover as much ground as Rigg can. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. But I've got nothing to fear. I'm kind of like less worried about Sheffield United as I am about Coventry, because Coventry's a bit of a bogey team for us, aren't they? So
yeah.
Dan, final thoughts then.
Final thoughts. Oh my God. If you're looking for prediction, I'll go again with my favorite one. 1-0 to the lads. That's the sweetest scoreline.
Yeah.
And I really hope we do that.
Well, Paul, your final thoughts. You were there. Best moment you've ever had in the Stadium of Light?
Yeah. In terms of that one moment, the whole game was just torture. So it was one of the worst 2 hours. It was one of the worst 2 hours I've spent in the Stadium of Light. But that one moment was the best. And I would say, in terms of the final, it'll hopefully we'll play attacking, good football. But to be honest, really, it's just going to come down, as it always does, to who takes the chances on the day. So we just need to cool heads and be clinical when we get a chance. And my last thing I want to say is mention Luke O'Nien, because Ballard was probably the best defensive performance I've ever seen from a Sunderland player in the first leg and the second leg, even before he scored. But O'Nien, he also played well. There was one bit where Mundelkate gave the ball away, and O'Nien was it felt like it was one-on-one against O'Nien on the edge of our box, and he did a brilliant tackle.
Yeah.
And if we get promoted, and it was Ian or Dan was saying about, it'd be great to see these players in the Premier League and they'll have done really well to get there. For me, we were in League One, with O'Nien was one of a bright spot in a really dark time. To see him play in the Premier League for Sunderland would be amazing. And when I spoke to Frankie at the International Fans Day, I said to Frankie, I want us to get promoted, and I want to see Luke O'Nien playing in the Premier League for us, and you and Danny doing the commentary in the Premier League. And it's the people who were with us in League One making it in the Premier League. So yeah, that's what if we do win promotion and thinking of the players, and for me, I'll be happier for Luke O'Nien than I will for anyone else. Yep,
I agree with that. Ian?
Having got every prediction wrong all bloody season, I'm not going to say a note. Other than, has anybody got a ticket?
I think I'm going to edit that and put that at the end.
Do you know how impossible it is to get a ticket in Germany? There's just no outlets whatsoever. I mean, we don't have any loyalty points because we don't get over there all that often. Martin Steffner is pulling his hair out to try and get some sort of answer from Chris Waters. Dan, I don't know what your relationship is.
Yeah, we've applied, obviously, but I'm going to America. I'm going to miss the final, unfortunately.
All right, okay.
And I said to my wife, I'm booking the tickets now, and you watch. We're going to reach the final. And then we did.
Yeah.
And then even if I didn't book them, we probably would failed.
There's one of our lads going to Costa Rica.
And so now the other members are trying to get tickets. I mean, I'm trying to get one for my son, but I don't know what to expect. I could see getting nothing.
No. Well, we've got 38,000 season ticket holders, and there's only 35,000 tickets on sale. So that's us knackers, you know. We'll never get anything that goes to public sale.
Against Wickham, we had 45,000, and then they gave us another extra 5,000, I think.
Something like that,
Wembley still wasn't full. They didn't even open the top ring.
Yeah, because Wickham had only 25. So it was fine. It was League One as well. So now
the Portsmouth game for the cup final, when McNee scored twice and we lost on penalties. That's probably the last penalty shootout I saw. You couldn't have got a cigarette paper in that stadium, and that's 2 third division teams.
Yeah.
In a Mickey Mouse Cup. It just shows how daft football is. I saw pictures of Sheffield United in the second leg against Bristol City. And one stand was almost completely empty. But they'll also take 35,000 down there.
Yeah, both teams have got the same allocation, haven't they? 35,531.
And the whole Wembley will be red and white.
Yeah.
Yeah,
regardless.
And I think it's been confirmed that we're going to be playing in white, the white kit, are we? I don't know if that's been confirmed or not.
I saw that today. When's the kickoff?
That's been confirmed.
Hello, the game's 9 days away. We don't know when they're going to kick off.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's rumours that it's going to be a 5:30 kickoff, right? Because on the same day at 3:00, I think is it the Scottish Cup final with Celtic and somebody else? And they reckon that Sky Sports, well, they don't want the two of them at the same time for viewing purposes. But I mean, a lot of Sunderland fans, from what I've read, have booked the late train, 9:00, 8:00, yeah, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and they wouldn't get back in time, I don't think, to catch the train if it's if it goes like obviously extra time, penalties, whatever, and it's a 5:30 kickoff, it'd be pushing it. But yeah, they need to get their finger out and think of the fans, don't they? But yeah, today I read as well.
3 o'clock kickoff, because that's going to ruin my plans in America as well. If they move the time, that's going to completely destroy my day there.
Yeah, yeah. And you'll have to drink more whiskeys on the tour, won't you?
I know. And imagine if we win. They will have to drag me out with a bloody digger or something.
To deport you, mate. They'll hire out the country.
No, but I was reading today that there's been a bit of controversy because it seems that the first phase today at noon until Friday was season ticket holders only, and part season ticket holders as well. But it seems that some people who had like a membership number but weren't season ticket holders were actually able to buy a ticket. And then there were people who have a season ticket but that need, I don't know, assistance or
I read that as well.
They're trying to put people in their network to get seats together, and it's giving them an error. So, I mean, yeah, hopefully the club can kind of fix that and make sure that every season ticket holder that wants to go can go. And then if there's anything for the branches, then obviously we'll happily take them, won't we, lads?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's not really the club that's running it. It's Ticketmaster that's running it. Thank God we're dumping them at the end of the season, although I've got no idea what the new company's like. They're running Manchester City and Liverpool, so they must be fairly serious. But Ticketmaster have been a disaster from day one. And that was Methven and Stewart that got them in. Stuart Donald.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes then, lads. But listen, we'll end on a high. We are in the playoff final. We've got Sheffield United. I'm not afraid of those bastards there. They can keep the steal, yeah.
And the cheapy greasy chip buddy.
Aye, and that as well. So, Dan, listen, thank you for your time tonight. Give us a goodbye in Bulgarian. Give us a war cry.
До следващия път, момчета, когато ще си честитим влизането във Висшата лига.
Brilliant, I love it.
I said, until next time, where we're going to greet each other with getting promotion to the Premier League.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Paul, do you want to give us it in Spanish, mate?
in Catalan.
Oh, in Catalan.
Que vaya Bailey.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, do you want more?
I wanted a bit more than that, man. All you said was
very precise, aren't they, in Catalonia?
Listen, Ian.
I said I just hope Mundell starts on the left wing and we get an early goal.
No, you didn't.
I tell you what, Ian, they are very precise, Danny, very tight as well with the money in Catalonia.
I think right in.
Ian, do you want to say something in German for us?
Ja, schönen guten Abend allerseits. Ich hoffe nur, dass wenn wir uns demnächst treffen, dann ist das in der Premier League. How are the lads?
Go on, give us a translation.
I just hope that next time we meet, it's going to be in the Premier League.
You copied Dan there, didn't you?
Yeah, more or less. Couldn't think of anything spontaneous to say.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Right,
well, listen. Enough to drink.
Right, well, listen, lads. Hopefully, next time we do see each other, we are in the Premier League and we are celebrating at next year's International Fans Day with a beer in the Fans Museum. How are the lads?
How are the lads?
How are the lads?
Hey, lads. Has anybody got a ticket?